We've talked on a couple other episodes about how our culture makes it sound like if you choose to be a mom, your life is kind of over.
True.
Or that it's like a negative connotation of like you're giving something up.
Yeah.
And we think of it in absolutes. Like I am giving up my career.
Yeah,
but
like
no
it's
one
done.
said you can't go
Final.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or that you can't change to something else. Or
know.
that something else isn't more amazing after that.
Truly. Yeah. I think what I'm in is just a season of life. And so as tough as, some things like postpartum, babies,
No
back to
sleep.
back
Yeah,
each year.
breastfeeding, all of the
all
stuff.
that stuff. As tough as that is, I always tell myself it's a season of life. And Pace and I have spent the majority of our lives being friends with people who are like 50 and above. I don't know what our deal is, but we just have always been friends with like older couples. And it's been so interesting to form deep, meaningful relationships with these people and realize that they're in a lot of ways starting over or they're finding themselves.
Yeah,
or
life
they're
is not,
switching
when you're
lanes.
young, you're like 50 is so old.
No.
Life is over.
Yeah.
And it's not.
I feel like I have so much more life to live. And I think I also have a really good perspective because I have a 17-year-old son, how fast they grow up and then it's over. And there is things left to me once they're gone.
Yeah, I love that. And I think a lot of women need to hear that because it's not talked about enough. Because you feel like, and then they also think of like, oh, my kids are like grown and moved out and like I'm lost.
Lost, yes. I'm not saying that like when I re-enter things, I mean, I've dabbled here and there. I'm not like 100%. Like my license isn't inactive. I mean, I showed houses a day ago. So I went to a listing appointment yesterday. So I'm not saying I don't do anything. It's just,
it's not everything for you.
And I'm not saying I'm going to like jump back in and I'm not going to feel like, oh, wait, like, things have changed, in a year. So,
okay, but speaking of babies.
Sure.
Are you going to have any more?
Oh my goodness, this is like the $1 million question. Pace would have 15 kids.
Right.
He comes from a family of 12, and I think he's on the fence of the more the merrier. I come from a family of 2. So like my life, when we go hang out with Jerry and Anne Marie's family, we were just talking about the Nortons. They have 10 kids.
And if you don't know the Nortons, they're like amazing at systems because having 10 kids, you couldn't function if you didn't.
No, not at all. But when we're in their house and there's someone's chasing somebody, someone's asking for stuff, someone's up on the counters, just kid things. Pace is like sitting there and he's just like happy as a clam, just like so calm. And I'm like, wow, this is a lot. Like, should I like, because when I grew up, it was really quiet. Like, of course, when you only have 2 kids, you're like
Where
polar
did you grow
opposites.
up?
Here.
Oh, wow. You're from Phoenix.
Yeah, I'm one of the few natives, but my sister has a completely different personality than me, so we didn't enjoy the same hobbies or interests, and so she was always doing her own thing, I was doing my own thing. We didn't even like the same type of people. We didn't even have mutual friends, and we never even shared boyfriends.
How far apart are you in age?
A year.
Oh, wow.
So we could have, but we're just so different. So my childhood was very quiet and clean and calm. And so
in multiple kids is not that.
No, it's not. And you kind of have to let go, and just.
You have to choose what you're letting go of.
Yeah.
Like our sink is never empty.
Never. Yeah. And what's really funny is Pace had a sweet little couple that helps him, and they actually came to Montana with us, and the girl said to me one time, our 6-year-old screaming, our 2-year-old screaming, I'm holding the baby, like everything's going on, and she was confused why she like made a comment like, do you want to help the 2-year-old who's crying over like she wanted vanilla wafers or something? Meanwhile, the 6-year-old's just acting like crazy and the baby actually needs something. And so it's like you have to decide the hierarchy of needs just in any given moment.
Almost like a medical field, right?
Yeah. And you have to kind of tune some of it out because as a mom, you're like attuned to your child's exact frequency. So their cries like feel like it's tearing apart your soul.
It's gonna crawl out of your skin.
And so she was like saying the 2-year-old was like, I didn't notice. And I was like,
how could you not notice?
I very much am aware of what's going on. I'm just like choosing to handle the kid who needs it the most, and then I'll address the other. So yeah, you have to let go of things like that, when I had one child, my son who was 17, anything he needed, like there was no division of my attention. So it's just a totally different life.
So does that mean you're having more?
I said absolutely not after Phil was born, but then I keep having these like things like, oh, if I have another girl, I'm gonna name her Pebble, which is what Pace wanted to name Corbin. And if I have another boy, I'm gonna name him Palmer, so then I'll have Phil and Palmer. I mean, there's so much more to this. I just feel like
the door's not closed.
It's not closed, but then I also want to be really cognizant of like my limits. And I was telling Pace, I was like, if we have any more, we're gonna have to start telling the kids no, like to certain things, certain activities, certain extracurriculars.
Yeah, your kids are pretty active.
Very active. Corbin's in 11 classes each week. Alone.
Holy crap.
This girl has a wide, varied range of interests. And so Monday has started. She has 3 classes a week, but...
And Corbin's how old?
6. So then I'm like going to have to start telling Corbin like, well, you can't. Or in big families, sometimes, you know, it's like, okay, well, this kid is taking dance, so you're all going to take a dance class. And then we're going to move on and we'll try something else.
That's what we do. Yep.
Yeah, because you have to. Otherwise,
everyone's doing Kung Fu.
It's like, logistically impossible. Yeah. I have a friend of ours who she bought her nanny a car. So they have a nanny car because like she has enough kids and they have enough activities that like one has to pick someone up from school and she's only one person. So,
but then your life becomes that.
And then it becomes mom taxi.
And it's not even the part about being a taxi. My husband and I regularly talk about this. It doesn't create a really great family environment.
Yeah.
Because you're all divided all the time.
Yeah.
And you're hardly ever together.
Yes.
And we have this really hard boundary on our family is having dinner together every single night.
I love that. That was my family growing up.
And it's wonderful.
It makes a big difference.
It does.
Especially as they get to be like teenagers, you're just like, it means so much that you can come together and at least spend a little bit of time together each day.
And the idea of being able to take multiple kids to so many different things.
Yeah.
And even though we homeschool, most of those activities are after school hours.
Sure.
So that feeds into like, because you don't just eat dinner, you got to make dinner. And
Yes.
we both cook a ton.
Yeah.
You start cooking like an hour before you're going to serve, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that means by like 5 o'clock, we're in the kitchen starting dinner.
Yeah.
And so if you're running back and forth, not only is your family not together, you're also eating really crappy because all your meals are out.
Grabbing McDonald's on the way home or Chick-fil-A.
And so having those 2 hard boundaries of we're having dinner at home and everyone's eating healthy.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how to have the activities at the level that you're doing and hold those 2 core things we're sticking to.
Yeah, it's hard. It is definitely hard. And I can see as the littles get older.
Yeah, even if you don't have more.
We'll have to, we'll just have to cut. And when I said that to Pace is like, well, I didn't do any extracurriculars growing up, and I'm fine. But at the same time, Pace comes from a family of 12, because if his mom said yes to him doing a basketball league, she had to say yes to 11 other kids doing whatever interest, or 11 other kids doing a basketball league. That's 11 classes right there. That's wild. And so I understand that. But then at the same time, sometimes I'm like, I think maybe some of you would have liked the option if you could have. So I don't know. I'm torn between the 2. I just want to make sure that I'm able, like, I don't want to just have kids to like collect kids. You know, they're so cute and you're like, oh, I just love having a little baby and stuff. I'm not the best like toddler parent. Like I have a really hard time when my kids are toddlers just because it's just so chaotic and it's hard on you. It's real. None of it makes sense and there's no reasoning and it's messy and it's loud and you know every night I go to bed I'm like, am I a bad mom? Just because they're just so out of control, you know. So I'm not the best toddler mom, but I can understand why people keep having like they're so sweet and
it's like buying a puppy.
It's
over
so
and
cute.
over again.
But I want to make sure that I have the capacity personally to nurture them, and like every person's different. Everybody's capacity is different, and mine, you know, I have an autoimmune disease, and I'm like, I'm fine right now. But what if I'm not fine in 10 years and then I had, you know, another child or 2 more children and I need to be in bed? You know, I don't know.
Do the pregnancies affect your autoimmune disease?
It actually turns it off while you're pregnant because your body naturally makes your immune system calm down, because when you're pregnant, it's not you and your body could attack your baby. It makes my immune system chill out. So when I'm pregnant,
it's better for you.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I'm pregnant. You have all the pregnant type of things, but like I don't have a lot of the autoimmune things while I'm pregnant, which is kind of nice.
That is nice.
Yeah, it is actually really nice.
That's a positive side effect.
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
So who knows? It's a very loaded question. I think for right now, for the next year, like the brakes are definitely on, but you know, nothing permanent has been done.